Hey, hey, what's up, everybody? Draft University is in session. I'm your host, Corey O'Neill, and as you'll find out on this channel, I'm a huge fan of lists, all right? I mean, who doesn't love a good list? Top 10s, top whatever, Mount Rushmores, things of that nature. So I figured what better way to kind of look at draft weekend and divide this thing up and look at each individual day and kind of look at the top 10 picks, my favorite 10 picks from the day, starting with day 2. And these are in no particular order in terms of my favorites, just sequential order in terms of the order they were taken on the board. So let's get started with the top 10 draft picks from day 2, Friday night of the NFL draft, rounds 2 and 3, with the Los Angeles Chargers in the second round, 34th overall pick, Lad McConkey, wide receiver out of Georgia. I thought maybe Malik Neighbors at 5. I said that on the mock here on the channel, but Harbaugh does, you know what Harbaugh does, and it's understandable. Joe Alt with the 5th overall pick, and he comes back around to snag the best receiver available at the top of the second round, in my opinion. Even after the Bills took Keon Coleman, McConkey's a great route runner, gets in and out of those breaks. The long speed can get you those yak yards. You'll see can line up in the perimeter, in the slot. You know, he's a great complement to Quentin Johnson's skill set and provides Justin Herbert with a reliable target. I love McConkey to the Chargers with the 34th pick. With the 39th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the LA Rams took Braden Fisk, a defensive tackle out of Florida State. You know, he's a Senior Bowl standout. You know, remember, and he joins his teammate from Tallahassee and first rounder Jared Verse along that Rams defensive line. You saw Byron Murphy and Johnny Newton, went 36 to Washington after Byron Murphy went 16 to Seattle on night 1. And Fisk was the guy sitting there in GM. Les Snead just lost all-time great, not just defensive lineman, but football player Aaron Donald to retirement. And the pundits, you know, the metrics say that the Rams overpaid to move up from 52 to 39 to take Fisk. You know, but Snead, Sean McVay, and the Rams front office identified him as a guy that they absolutely had to have. And I'm for a team get your guys. I applaud the Rams for going up and getting Braden Fisk. Reportedly, they tried to move up with Buffalo with first pick of the second round. The Bills weren't willing to do it. They already made a bunch of moves back, took Keon Coleman with 33. So I applaud the Rams for getting their guy and making the aggressive move to go up and get. I don't think you can replace Aaron Donald, but you know, Braden Fisk had a hell of a year, had a great career at Florida State. I like him to the Rams at 39. My personal favorite pick with the 40th pick, the Philadelphia Eagles select Cooper DeJean, defensive back out of Iowa. You know, I wanted DeJean at 22 on night 1, and after taking Quinion Mitchell at 22 on night 1, I thought there was no way that Howie Roseman would go back-to-back DBs. I just didn't see it happening, you know, and DeJean's the poster boy for that versatility. Can play corner, can play safety, that big nickel position. He's a returner. I think he's Kyle Hamilton-esque. He makes up, actually, for Howie passing on Kyle Hamilton for Jordan Davis a few years ago, at least for me personally. There's no weakness in his game, and this Eagles secondary suddenly became both young and deep within a 24-hour period on draft weekend. With the 40th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Jackson Powers Johnson, center out of Oregon. The Raiders were definitely one of those teams that you consider going offensive line in the first round before they took Brock Bowers at 13, which I thought was a fucking great pick. I don't think anybody didn't. So you add one of the best offensive weapons in this draft, and then you circle back around, you add the best center in the draft in Powers Johnson, who can step in, you know, play center. You can put him at guard day 1. You know, you're getting a smart player with a high football IQ in the trenches. And coupled with Brock Bowers, now the Raiders have 2 cornerstones on offense for the next decade. With the 51st pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Zach Frazier, center out of West Virginia. I absolutely love what the Steelers did in the draft. You know, you had Justin Fields a month ago, and with a less than optimal offensive line heading into the draft, Pittsburgh spent 3 of their 7 picks on offensive linemen. Troy Fautanu on night 1 was a solid choice. I had him taking Jackson Powers-Johnson there in my mock here, but they circle back around in the second round and take Frazier, who could end up being every bit as good as Powers-Johnson. Frazier's definitely not like a consolation prize. He's got all the smarts you want at center, tough blue-collar guy that reminds me kind of a poor man's Tyler Linderbaum. And by poor man, I mean no knock on the fray of pleasure. That's just kind of, there's some similarities there to me, and I'm not just talking about the short arms. I expect Frazier to be the day 1 starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers at center come week 1. With the 62nd pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens select Roger Rosengarten, offensive tackle out of Washington. And Ravens fans will tell you that corner and offensive line are what they wanted to see happen early in the draft. And Eric DeCosta took the corner and Nate Wiggins at 30 on night 1, and then he grabs the offensive tackle on night 2 at Rosengarten. Great value at the end of the second round. Rosengarten didn't allow a single sack in 28 starts at Washington, and the Huskies threw the ball all over the yard with Michael Penix Jr. and those 3 wide receivers that also all got drafted within the first 3 rounds of the draft, Adunze, Jalen Polk, and McMillan as well. The Ravens had Daniel Falele penciled in at right tackle with Ronnie Stanley. He's north of 30, plus injuries at left tackle. Baltimore needed new blood at the tackle spot, and I think you'll find Rosengarten starting opposite Ronnie Stanley when week 1 arrives. Let's go to the 3rd round with the 65th pick, where the New York Jets select Malachi Corley, wide receiver out of Western Kentucky. Look, GM Joe Douglas did everything he could for Aaron Rodgers in this draft. You go Olu Fashanu, offensive tackle out of Penn State in the 1st, before landing great value with Corley here at the top of the 3rd round. The Yak King, right? 5'11", 215, solid build, tough receiver that's used to that heavy workload. He's a guy that you can easily scheme plays to, can develop into, much more than that at the NFL level with some reps. And he gives you just a great depth piece, wide receiver 3, much needed behind Garrett Wilson and the newly acquired Mike Williams. With the 73rd pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys select Cooper Beebe, guard out of Kansas State. Beebe was one of my favorite players in this draft, and full disclosure, I hate that he went to Dallas, right? But objectively, I fucking love the pick. 6'4", 335, just a bulldozer, good in pass pro, instinctive, consistent, and experienced. Played 51 games in college and started 48 of them. The Cowboys needed offensive linemen, and they took Tyler Guyton in the 1st round and followed that up with great value here, in my opinion, in the 3rd round with BB, who can, be a game wrecker along the interior offensive line. He's reportedly going to play at center for the Cowboys. That's what the early word is coming out of Texas. With the 79th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Matt Gonzalez, offensive tackle out of Pitt. Hats off to GM Chris Ballard with another solid effort. Another very, very good draft weekend. The first team to go defense on night 1 with Leatu Latu. You get Adonai Mitchell in round 2 to go with Michael Pittman Jr., just extended, and Josh Downs from last year. Big body in Gonzalez, 6'6", 327, comes with experience at right and left tackle, good in pass pro, and can also put guys on a sled in the run game once he gets moving. He's going to be that versatile depth piece with starter potential for the Colts, who, to their credit, are seemingly putting everything they can around Anthony Richardson to do the best they can to give him a chance to succeed in Indianapolis with head coach Shane Steichen, who I love. With the 81st pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks select Christian Haynes, guard out of Connecticut, and this is another team with a need along the offensive line. Seattle went defense with Byron Murphy in the 1st round, 16th overall, and did not have a 2nd rounder. I believe that was a Leonard Williams trade. GM John Schneider followed up here with Haynes, who, addresses quite possibly their most vulnerable spot on the roster. He's a mauler, that's got a bit of nasty to him, dominant at the point of attack, and just a fucking people mover in the run game. He's great in pass pro, hasn't allowed a sack since 2021. He's exactly the type of player that you want at the guard spot, and this furthers Seattle's efforts in a very blue-collar draft class. and at a position of need for the Seahawks. I love Christian Haynes, was one of my favorite guys in this draft. Great pick by GM John Snyder. What do you think of these picks? Did your team or favorite player make the list from the draft? If not, we'd love to hear it. Comment yours below, and also hit that subscribe button. Share the video out for more draft content on this, the 2024 NFL Draft, and way more NFL Draft content to come as we look not only forward to next year's draft, but look back rather, at draft history as well. So we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.